as Bitcoin monetizes the world, everybody who holds Bitcoin is not only all the things we've already talked about, they're also increasingly wealthy, right? Which allows us to invest in more businesses aligned.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Aligned to the outcome.
Yes, right.
Right. And there's two roads here, and I'll come back to the investing in a second. Yeah. If that's all right. I've started on the wrong one because let's go to the other one first. The other one is the spending.
Yeah.
Right. You've got more money in your pocket. You're likely to be spending more over time as things, you upgrade your life, and especially if you are supporting Bitcoin businesses, right? So if you think about, you're becoming wealthier, helping support businesses that have adopted Bitcoin in the broadest sense, not just accept it, but adopt Bitcoin. That's going to drive competitive advantage and long-term growth for those businesses.
Yes.
Which is going to breed more Bitcoiners in those businesses, which are then going to leave and create more businesses. And that alone is on the unstoppable side. But then if you think about the investing, we have Michael Saylor doing for MicroStrategy, effectively unlocking the financing glitch here. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning because what he's done is take a close to zero growth, cash flowing company and attached it to, a rocket ship by putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet and financial structuring. There are thousands of these companies. And what is clear and what remains to me like the big obvious hole to fill here is doing this on the industrial scale. Because you've got MicroStrategy, you have Metaplanet, you have companies who realize the value they can create for shareholders by adopting this thing, but it's unilateral adoption, right? Individual companies, typically founder-led or founder-owned, right? Or with a dominant shareholder.
Yeah.
Right? And also typically not category leaders.
Yeah, right? with agile decision making, so they can move quickly.
Yeah,
and if they're positive free cash flow, you can make it's like just switching your savings account, and you unlock this massive accretion of shareholder value. It's like very low energy transition for high output gain.
Total no brainer.
Yeah,
unless you are a category leader,
right,
or you have something to protect.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's going to be not going to be the incumbents who drive this thing,
right? Unless
the incumbents have so much cash on the balance sheet. Yeah, Apple. To you have to start doing something, and there's no downside for doing it, right? But these small companies, they're taking a competitive advantage, and over time, as more and more companies do it, the rewarding by the market for each company that does it will gradually decline because it will become obvious that all companies will ultimately do this, and share prices will reflect it, even if the company hasn't made a decision to move already. But the big missing gap here for me is the industrialization of that. So, for example, you have private equity who raise big funds, and then they go out and acquire private companies. But you also have investment companies that raise funds and then take invest in public companies as well. Now, you've got a playbook here from Michael Saylor.
Yeah.
If I was a private equity,
and he's open sourced the playbook.
Yeah. If I was a private equity business, and I want to drive long-term capital returns for both my investors and for us as managers on a 2 and 20, or not 2 and 20, probably the private equity, but not too dissimilar.
Yeah.
You would want to industrialize the most value accretive playbook that's ever been, right? But you do it on an industrial scale. So there's so many zombie companies out there, so many zombie companies, right? And there's no growth. They're just ticking along, especially with the demographic change that is happening at the moment, right? They're already prime targets for private equity.
Yeah.
If you go in there with and inject Bitcoin onto the balance sheet of all of these companies.
Yeah, chop down the cost structure.
The things you would do anyway, right? And then
Put them on the Bitcoin standard.
And then append it with the MicroStrategy, strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy.
Yeah. strategy.
Then you are unlocking massive amounts of shareholder value, but you're doing it across dozens of companies at the same time. And then the ability of those companies to then go public.
Mm-hmm.
It accelerates the liquidity phase for you as the investor.
Yeah.
Right? Which is not going to last forever. So it is such a no-brainer strategy for the private equity world that I fully expect the next 12, 18 months, we start seeing pop-ups of these Saylor-esque private equity funds. It's basically just free money is what's going to happen to these businesses anyway.
So the mass production of these Saylor-esque strategy businesses, it makes a lot of sense too.
It's entirely logical.
It's a tried and true playbook, and it's open source, and the conversion costs are very small. Right? You're just, especially now that all the regulatory clarity is there. You know, that we've had all the changes in the wake of MicroStrategy strategy.
Yeah, and what's also nice about these sorts of investment vehicles is typically there's a lot of debt that goes into private equity owned businesses. Right? They make them shareholder, they acquire them, put a load of debt in, grow the business through senior securities or preferred shares and these sorts of things. So they already have the firepower and willingness to put debt in the capital structure. But instead of taking it out as dividends, you just put it in Bitcoin instead.
Yeah.
Right. And over the time frame that you care about as an investor, which is going to be 5 to 10 years for these private equity businesses, nothing's going to outperform Bitcoin.
Right.
So why would you take the dividends?
Right.
And so it's like private equity 2.0, which we haven't seen yet, which is it's. Anybody who wants to do this, give me a call, because if I wasn't focused on the things I intend to be focusing on, this is what I would probably be doing, because it's such a no-brainer.
Right. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.